Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 if you just believe. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 if you just believe.
Good evening, people. Good evening. I hope you're all doing very, very well. 25 in the building already waiting on us. The community is growing. The community is, there's more 1894 community members coming in all the time, and that is absolutely fantastic to see. Let's get the likes up nice and early, people. Let's get the likes up nice and early. Get more people in here, and we're going to have a good chat tonight. It's going to be a good stream tonight. I've got a good feeling because it was a good weekend for us, wasn't it? We got the 1-0 win over Leicester. tough game. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk a little bit about Chelsea and Potter's return to Hogwarts. We're going to talk about Liverpool versus, who they lost to again? Fucking Leeds yesterday. Unbelievable, man. Leeds beating Liverpool 2-1. Are you mad? The Anfield myth is real. Virgil's playground, I was told. Virgil van Dijk's play. Listen, we're going to get into it all. Absolutely brilliant weekend. Let's see who we've got in the build anyway. Darsh, yes, people. Beating Brighton, Leeds, and Nottingham Forest ain't for only big clubs. Only real teams can beat Brighton, Leeds, and Nottingham. Fuck's sake, like. Dennis says, Suey, let's go, lads. Rave time, boys, back in the academy. Good man, John. You're never out of that place. Dano, Kevin De Bruyne, 1 hour buzz, big up, good man, 1 hour buzz, good to see you. D1 Millie, new mod, happy to see you as a mod. He's a great supporter of the channel. Big up D1, big up the Rose, Hugh, Dara, Joe. Everyone remember to smash the like button. All support helps the channel in a big way. Absolutely, listen to D1. He's talking factos. Yes, Nick Toll, Ayo, Prem Trophy soon come. Prem Trophy is soon come. We just need those bastards Arsenal to stop fucking around. Okay, the joke has gone dead now. The joke, it was cute, it was nice, it was great. It was nice to see you doing well, Arteta and Zinchenko and all them, man. But chill out now. Normality needs to be restored. City need to get back on top of that Premier League, and I think it's coming soon. I don't think they're gonna. I mean, I know they won 5-0 today, but are they going to be able to last the pace? We'll probably have a chat about that too. I didn't want to talk about the big six teams that won because I don't really care when they win a game. I don't want to talk about it too much, so we won't talk about United. But seeing as Arsenal are top of the league and as it stands, they're our biggest title contenders, we may as well talk a bit about them because I thought they were falling off a little bit. They were putting in poor performances, then they go and batter Forest 5-0. But putting 6 past Forest isn't for everybody, is it? Jay Millsy, yes, Jay Millsy. John Coster, both celebrating a good win. Your win wasn't great, man. They peppered you for most of the game. They peppered you, let's be real. Luke says, hello, Hugh, Joe, Dara, how are we? And the chats, we're all good, man. We're glad to see you, all of you guys here. Dudley Lewis, High Blues, King, Anfield Aura. Listen, fuck that Anfield Aura. Yeah, it's not real. Virgil van Dijk's playground, Disneyland. That's what it is, Anfield. It's fucking Disneyland. Leeds, Jesse March and Leeds went to Anfield and took the piss. Are you mad? Tyrone Douglas, yes, Blues, Milo, Arsenal. Listen, we're going to talk about Arsenal. We may as well we'll give them credit. I don't want to slander Arsenal. I don't want to say anything bad about them because everything they've done so far this season has been pretty good. Bar losing to Man United, they're doing a pretty good job. Anyways, listen, the pair of you, I'm rambling on. It's good to see all 30 people in the chat get involved. Get your thoughts in on all the games. Chelsea, Arsenal, City. Obviously, there'll be a big orientation on City with this being a City channel. Liverpool, all the games that happened this weekend. Get all of your thoughts in on anything that you thought or any opinions you have on the weekend's football, and we will talk about it, people. We will talk about it. Brighton 4-1 Chelsea, lol, absolutely, man. What the fuck happened there? It wasn't even on telly, lads, was it? The Arsenal game wasn't on telly. The Chelsea game wasn't on telly. So we couldn't even watch the Chelsea get battered, unfortunately. But I was watching Matisse's stream on YouTube, and some of his reactions were absolutely priceless. Seeing people in the big six in misery is just hilarious because we're always winning. We're always playing great. We're in great straits right now, so it's great. Messi news. We talked about Messi in the last stream. We could touch in on him briefly again if we've any new thoughts on that situation. I don't think we do. It's probably the exact same as it was. But there's going to be Bernardo Silva conversation as well, lads. I think we need to have a chat about Bernardo Silva, seeing as the word is Barcelona's interest in Bernardo Silva has ended. He's happy at Manchester City, and City are offering him a new contract, reportedly. It all points to a Bernardo extension, doesn't it? Please God, anyway. Anyways, how are we both doing? Joe and Dara. Sorry, I'm rambling on. You both good?
I'm pretty fucking good, man. We had a good weekend, to be honest with you. Taking out the Arsenal result, I thought we had a really good weekend. Like, even looking at Tottenham, I could still take a positive out of it. The fact that they conceded to the Bournemouth, probably really shouldn't have won. Ken had another stinker. Replaced it. We caught wind of Haaland not playing beforehand, right? Before any real team news came out, we caught wind of it. I took Haaland off the captaincy. Thank God. But who did I put on? Put on Harry Kane, who got me a grand total with the captaincy of 2 points. So that's my FPL dream for the year kind of finished, to be honest with you. But other than that, we can take positives even out of them winning, that they still looked shit and they still tried to sit back. They are awful, man. They are piss poor. But you know what? I think it's kind of time we can focus on City a bit more because it was a really, really good win. I'm really proud of coming out of that game with 3 points because they turned on really after the first goal, Leicester. Like, I know I'd give a basic overview of it. Like, we were really good for a while. They sat back there 10 men in the box. We couldn't break them down. We didn't break them down, let's be fair. We did not break them down. It took a free kick for them to score, which was, I know I'm going to give some props here, Murray. I probably, I can hear you getting giddy. but Jack Grealish was doing really well and he won the free kick. We were already talking about this before the stream started, yeah? That Grealish is really divided City fans. But I don't know why this is the performance that's sitting him down the middle, because I thought personally, I thought he was pretty good. You know what I mean? We have him down as a 7. I thought he was pushing in and around that as well. He definitely wasn't anywhere near the worst player on the pitch for sure. Like, I thought he was pretty good as well. But again, we need that kind of... Bernardo was more so operating on the right-hand side. That's where he pulled off a few of his chances. Grealish is still missing that overlap. That overlap really makes him look the better player. We've said that 1,000 times, and you know he didn't have it this week, and he still performed well. I thought he was really good because he had to move inside to be able to get one up on the Leicester defenders who were doubling him, probably even tripling them at some stage. Where that fucking many of them, it was awful to watch. And Rodgers, he had every right to set up like that, but it was a boring watch. I think Richard Key had said something. Richard Key said something after. It's like, how can Leicester have any aspiration and still set up like that? It was caveman, which it was, but you know we've got that kind of, I don't want to say aura, we've got that reputation where you have to set up with 10 defenders in the box, otherwise I don't know what's going to happen, because I wouldn't say they were working on the influence of Haaland not playing. I'd say they were like, right, chances are we don't want to take any risk. If Haaland's playing, then we have to pack out the box, and that's what they did. I think they made a defensive sub at half time too. I'm not sure. I think it was it Mendy who came on? The guy they signed, he was brought on for someone. I'm not sure if it was true injury or not, but you could see what they were setting up to do, and they done it really well in fairness to them. It just took some individual brilliance, and you know what? I think myself and Mr. Joe Head are gonna have to offer us some apologies, because our
speak for yourself.
Kevin De Bruyne is the best midfielder in the world. He is unbelievable. That free kick goal.
We have a lot of new viewers these days, right? There's a lot of people who've come from the Big Six, a lot of new viewers who will not know where both you and Joe stand when it comes to Kevin De Bruyne. Now, listen, people, I want to preface this, people, by saying I had no role in this agenda. I did not buy into this belief that Joe and Dara had. You can both explain yourselves now, but don't go back on yourselves and say you were right. I never agreed with you. I thought you were always wrong. They both had a massive agenda against Kevin De Bruyne, the best midfielder in the world for the last 5 or so years. The pair of these idiots below me had an agenda against him. Listen, he's a championship winning player.
Sorry,
what?
Dan's here having a go at us as if the fucker wasn't doing the exact same thing.
I don't even know how this is even a debate. How can you have an agenda against Kevin De Bruyne? People, listen, if you have an agenda against Kevin De Bruyne, I don't know. I never understood. Joe and Dara made a 55-minute video one day, about a year ago now. 50-minute video about a year ago complaining about Kevin De Bruyne, and I said to them, I was like, if you upload it, you're not putting my face anywhere near it, because I completely disagree. I don't know how they got 50 minutes of complaining about De Bruyne out of it. But the thing is with De Bruyne, he is frustrating. I'll give you that much. He is frustrating at times when he's forcing that Hollywood pass or he's spamming cross, and you're thinking, fuck's sake, Kev, just slow it down and do the basics of football. He doesn't do that sometimes, but you can't take him off. You can't take him off because of what he did against Leicester, those kind of things. How many times has he bailed us out of situations, particularly way before we had Haaland, way before we had a striker at all? We needed big players to step up in those games against your Palaces, your Southamptons, who was it yesterday, Leicester, those kind of games where on another day it's a draw or a loss, they stand up and score a goal. I mean, we created fuck all real chances yesterday, and we'll talk about Julian Alvarez because I felt bad for him. I don't think Haaland scores yesterday. We needed a set piece moment of magic, you know, a Trent Alexander-Arnold, a Kieran Trippier kind of free kick, something just in the top bins, and you go, yes, that's exactly what we needed. And a big player does that, and Kevin De Bruyne stepped up and did that. I think Mahrez has that kind of big game sort of moment in him as well, which is why I wouldn't give up hope on Riyad Mahrez. But Kevin De Bruyne, both of you now, and we may as well start with Joe and state your case, brother, because he's shushing you. He's looking down the camera lens and saying, shush, Joe.
He was, just to be clear, he was ahead of me. He was the man. He was pushing the boss out of me. He was heavy.
Joe was spearheading this.
I will fucking apologise to no one. I apologise to no one. I was well within my right to call him shit for a few months, right? I am sorry. The last season, the first 4 months of the season, until the turn of the year, I'm sorry, he was doing my fucking head in, week out. I will never forget when we lost to Spurs. By far, probably his worst performance ever. It was dreadful. One of the lowest player ratings that we've ever given on a review, ever. Like, I will not apologise, because I think I was well within my right to go, he's annoying me. He's trying things that aren't working, and he can see they're not working, and he's still going with them. I saw it with my own two eyes. I thought that I was in the right, and I will take nothing back. I still think for the first half of last season, he was dreadful. I'm not taking that back. I'm not apologising. I'll give him his props when he plays well. My stance on him has always been that while he's playing shit and has the tendency to play shit, he is still a player that has a moment of brilliance in him, and that you can't take him off for the sole reason that he can produce a moment like he did against Leicester. No matter how bad he's playing, he still has that moment in him. That has always been my point of view with, even though he drove me up the fucking wall, you can't take him off because he can do things like he did yesterday against Leicester. That is my stance. That has always been my stance. I'm not backtracking. He still did my head in last season. I am not apologising either. That's my stance on last season. It still stays the exact same. I will not apologise and take anything I said back because I think I was dead right.
You're killing me, Joe. Listen, I just want to say really quickly, there's almost 50 people in the building right now, and we're only on 33 likes. Come on, people, get the likes up, get them up to 50 likes, and it gets more people in here. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're still on the road to 5k. We're getting there fast. The community is ever growing, and we always really appreciate your guys' support. So smash the like button, get it up, people. Come on. With Kevin De Bruyne, what?
Can I state my case?
Listen, you can state your case in a second, right? We've just heard Joe's case, and Joe, like Tyrone says in the chat here, he's told him that I'd like to apologise to absolutely nobody. Yeah, Joe has come in on smoke there. He's like, I'm not taking any shit. I back what I say. And listen, I actually admire and I respect someone who's like, nah, I'm not apologising. I still believe what I say, but like I said, I was the polar opposite. I didn't agree with either of you guys on the De Bruyne thing. I still believe what Luke says in the chat here. He's the best player to ever play for our club. I think he's well in that conversation. You could say David Silva maybe too. It's a toss of a coin, really, isn't it, between Silva, maybe Aguero for what Aguero, which is a finisher, wasn't he, and Kevin De Bruyne as a complete footballer. But he, like I said, he's a big game. He's a big player, De Bruyne. He's a big moment player. I do agree. Like I said, he can be frustrating, but you need your big players to stand up, and he does stand up. So that's why I never really wanted to get in his back too much, even though he did frustrate the life out of me. But anyway, go on, Rebel. Kevin De Bruyne.
Well, for one, Luke came in straight away with the Southern cock munching to say that I'm all here for the De Bruyne prop, and now he is the best player to ever play for the club. I will say about him, I will say about Kevin De Bruyne, he is, when it comes to players that can take the game by a scruff of a neck, right? We saw at Villa, especially last season against Villa when we were there, he took the game by the scruff of the neck. That was the best, that was one of the better games he played that season, especially the last 20 minutes of it, I thought. As a player who can take a game by the scruff of the neck, he's second to none. But I still stand by David Silva. Until De Bruyne retires or leaves or whatever, I'm still firmly into David Silva, though he is the best player to play for Man City. I think he's unbelievable. You have this kind of thing where you have Silva, you have Toure, Aguero, you have De Bruyne, Akanji, all those kind of players that you can
listen, no, honestly, fuck off.
The best player.
That caught me so off guard. That caught me so off guard.
As the best players I've ever played for the club. And look, I understand people saying De Bruyne, I understand people saying, yeah, Toure. I think as a man I'm a man who enjoys some technical ability, right? Which De Bruyne has bag loads of, but you'll never find a more technically gifted player than David Silva. He was an animal. He was beautiful. Other than Messi. In the Premier League, at least, you'll never find someone as good as David Silva on the ball. Magician. A fucking magician. And I'll take it to my grave. But I'm somewhat backtracking. I'm not doing a Joe and not backtracking. I am somewhat backtracking in the sense that the 50-minute video...
Coward.
The 50-minute video was, I will say, tactically fucking brilliant, right? We pulled out the stops and that. We were doing up charts and all for positions. We were that video is tactically unbelievable, right? I will say that.
I hate that video. It's the one video on the channel I go, I wish this doesn't exist.
That's right. Regardless, that video is fantastic. Give it a watch if you haven't, right? But right?
Don't advertise that video.
It's a brilliant video. Regardless, I think that we are well within our right to be heavily frustrated with him. I think, I see that video. I think that was tipped over the edge by the Tottenham match, and that Tottenham match tipped me over the edge when he barred someone over when he was absolutely nowhere near the ball and gave away a free kick while we had the ball in their half. That pushed me over. But I'm backtracking somewhat, and I am now saying he's the best midfielder in the world because, by Jesus, he hasn't even been that outstanding this season. And it's just those fucking moments. Those moments can build up a player. And yesterday, he ran the show. I thought he was great. And again, even though there wasn't many chances created, you can still look at him and have to get, like we've given him a 9. You have to give him that high rank because that's how good he was at the end as well. Actually, you know what, Murray? I disagree with you. Haaland does score yesterday. At the end, 88 minute, the breakaway from the Leicester attack when the Bruyne gets head down and bursts through. If Haaland's at that back post, it's 2-0. 100%.
Maybe. I mean, I wasn't saying that Haaland, he might score because he's just that good. But my point was more leaning towards the idea of we didn't create a huge amount, and that's why I felt sorry for Julian Alvarez. But listen, with Kevin De Bruyne, we'll look back on that free kick, we'll look back on that goal and that game if we win the league and say that was an absolutely huge moment. Like I said, that is a league-winning goal that Kevin De Bruyne scored yesterday. It was very reminiscent yesterday's game of when we played the false 9 every single week, and we were playing against the likes of Palace and dropping points. We were playing against Southampton dropping points, and we're going, if we only had a striker, or we're not creating enough, or we're missing our chances, and we needed that one moment. We need that one moment, one player, like you said, to grab the game by the balls and say, nah, I'm dragging us to this 3 points. And that's exactly what he did. That's Kevin De Bruyne. He's a cold player mentally. He doesn't buy into pressure. He doesn't get phased by attention. He's so fucking cold, and he has those big moments in him. And who created the free kick? People who create. Someone tell me in the chat, people, who created the free kick? So someone tell me who can someone just remind me really quickly who won the free kick?
Yeah. I will say it's Jack Grealish, yeah. But
it's Jack Grealish, people. Jack Grealish won the free kick. Now listen, we want to have a little conversation about my man, Jack Grealish. Because you know what? This guy, I'm going to keep whipping this jersey out every single time. He's getting so much slander unfairly. Why? I don't understand for the life of me why Jack Grealish is getting this slander. We know what role he plays. One sec. He said it himself, right? His stats were never phenomenal. 6 goals in his last 2 seasons. In each season, in the last 2 seasons of Villa, 6 goals in each season, a couple of assists. He doesn't understand why people are expecting him to bang in goals. And I'm seeing increasingly on Twitter and in live chats, there's a massive divide in City fans. Some City fans absolutely love him. They're in my lane. I absolutely love the guy. Probably don't love him as much as me.
No one is in your lane. No one is in your lane. No one is that crazy.
Okay. Right, okay, I'm in my own lane. I'm up here, they're down there somewhere. Listen, they either like Jack Grealish and they understand the role he plays. If you understand football and understand that not every single winger, not every single attacking midfielder is put out on the pitch to hit the back of the net, then you'll understand Jack Grealish's role in the team. So some people don't like him. They're saying he's brutal. I did a stream with Lewis this morning on City Extra. If you didn't watch it, go check that out after. It was a player rating stream. We had a bit of a conversation about Jack Grealish. Lewis is the same as me. He backs Jack Grealish. But I saw some of the comments and some of the chat where people were saying he's dreadful, he's useless, get him out. I don't understand for the life of me why people think that. I really don't. What he brings to our team is so unique. There's 3 players in our team that add things that nobody else does. The first is Bernardo Silva. He's a unique player. He adds something nobody else could. I couldn't think of any other player in our squad that can do what Bernardo Silva does. The second is João Cancelo. I can't think of any other player in our squad who can do what João Cancelo does. And the third, even though it's probably the least rewarding, you get the least praise for it, and it's not the prettiest on the eye, it's Jack Grealish. It's Jack Grealish, people. He adds such a role to our team that frightens the life out of other teams. Why are opposition doubling and tripling up on this guy if he's not that scary and he's not that good? Every single week without fail, the away fans or the home fans, wherever we're playing, they boo him. Their defenders double and triple up on him. Why? Why are they doing that? Because they know he's a serious player and he can cause serious problems if you give him the space. We've seen in games, people, where he was given space and there was, teams didn't double up on him. Or against Wolves when Nathan Collins got sent off, naturally there's more space in the pitch. He's really dangerous. He's really prolific. But it's great. If Jack Grealish never scores a goal for Manchester City again, but he still attracts 2 and 3 defenders a game, I'm saying he's doing perfect. He's doing brilliant because he's leaving space for Foden or Mahrez or Bernardo or Alvarez or Haaland. He's given them more space than they ever would have got if Grealish wasn't on the pitch. You have to understand the role Grealish plays to appreciate him. We're so used to him, we just expect all the time wingers to just hit the back of the net, to beat players all the time and just be really pretty and play really sexy football. It's not a reality. He would not be picked every single week the way he is if Pep wasn't happy with him. Listen, people need to put more respect on Jack Grealish's name. Clearly, they want him to cut his hair, Hugh. Listen, I don't want him to ever cut his hair. He is the most perfect head of hair I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
You do want him to cut his hair so you can get a strand and clone him and keep said clone in your house.
Listen, it frustrates me. I mean, especially like was it you that did we say this while we were live or before we went live? I'm not sure. You said why this game of all games to start giving out about Jack Grealish. I thought he was one of our better players yesterday. He was one of our better players. That's fact of the matter. The first half really frustrating for him. No attacking player was going to thrive against Leicester yesterday. They had 11 men behind the ball for most of the game. Jamie Vardy was in front of his own box for most of the game. How is any player meant to thrive in that situation? Then in the second half, he got a few moments where he dropped deep, he inverts into the centre of the pitch, and he makes some great runs through the centre, puts midfielders and defenders under pressure. He had an overall good game. I agree with Joe's rating. As always, people, if you don't agree with ratings, myself and Revel do not play any part in deciding these ratings.
Give me more stick, why don't you? Yeah?
That dickhead.
Fuck off.
Always blame him. Always blame him if you don't agree with the ratings, people. Listen, I don't know. Maybe Joe, if you want to speak on Jack Grealish, I think it's the wrong time to give out about him. I think people just need to realise his role, and he is going to get goals. He's not one of those players that's going to bang a goal every single week like we've seen Mahrez do at times. I mean, for God's sake, Phil Foden. I know he's having a great season goal wise this year so far. He started off great, but Phil Foden was never a prolific goal scorer. He never has been. He wasn't known for his goal scoring. It was his technical ability and his ability to read the game. Jack Grealish does both of those things. Jack Grealish is really technically good, and he's also a magnet for defenders. Put some fucking respect on JG Tenjo. That wasn't aimed at you, by the way. I'm just saying.
It's on to you, but
it's a good thing his football IQ is high because his actual IQ isn't. But more about the football. Listen. More about the football.
You're right. He picked England over Ireland. The very clearly isn't. Come on.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Would you stop being in love with your country for 2 seconds, man? Come on, get a grip. It's a 7 for me. I think nothing too outstanding, but he wasn't poor. Like, the whole front line essentially was nullified because Leicester decided to play like absolute terrorists against the sport. Why on earth did you think you were going to ever get anything out of the game with doing that? I know we're without Haaland, and the dropping of Phil Foden surprised me considering he's our second top scorer this season. But we're inevitable. We are a team where you look at us and you go, if you just sit back, it's only a matter of time before you probably concede one. So it's again that's the thing that we've been saying for weeks on this channel, isn't it? That the best way to get something from us is to go for us. If you just sit back, it's inevitable we will score at some point, most of the time. So I get it because it almost worked, but again, you can't really account for genius, really, can you? It's a moment of why has that happened now? But at the same time, naive, really, isn't it, to just let us go and dominate because we have the capacity to do that. And I thought Grealish was, I mean, he did all he can, really, didn't he? I mean, they 3-4 players on him sometimes, both of the players down their right-hand side, wide centre-half. Sometimes he'd have another midfielder going across. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous, which is why him and Bernardo only got a 7, because, again, they don't have the space to work in. They are surrounded by Leicester players. It's not great, but, again, he wins the free kick, which leads to the goal, which is something that, again, that's something that no one else in that team brings the amount of fouls that he wins. That is something that people don't understand because you need to watch the game to understand. I'm going to be dead honest about this. I'm firing a lot of shots here. Many fans that you see on Twitter that don't like Grealish probably don't watch the game. They don't watch the game. They only watch the highlights because you need to watch the game to understand what he brings and what he's good at and why he's actually doing all right. He's doing okay. The whole goals will come thing, I slightly disagree with because he's never ever going to be a goal scorer. He might chip in with, I'm hopeful of him getting 5 every season as being like sort of average across all competitions. But
I don't mean the goals will come and eventually it'll click and he'll become a banger every single week. I just mean he'll chip away at it. He'll get a goal here and there. He'll contribute, but that's not his primary job.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the more in-depth stats that aren't just goals and assists, which everyone just defaults to, he's created a similar number of chances to Maddison. You saw the BT Sport graphic. He created a similar amount of chances.
More chances per game.
More chances per game
because James Maddison has better everything else.
James Maddison's got the goals and assists. But yeah, look at Grealish's stats. In less games, he's created almost the same amount of chances. We're just not putting them away. Or maybe they're not like big chances, but he's still creating chances. So he's there to... He has something that not a lot of players have as well, which is gravity. He attracts players, which takes them out of position. Haaland has that same gravity of, if he plays, you've automatically got 2 or 3 players on him. That's gravity. It's something that Grealish, that's why he wins so many fouls, because he pulls players over, and when he goes past them, they have to bring him down because they're out of position. They don't want him breaking into space. That is what he does. And again, you have to watch the game to understand that that's what he brings, and that's what he's in the team to do. He understands the game. He can hold on to the ball, which, again, something in when a team does decide to press. When Leicester went 1-0 down, they bring on the 2 strikers, go to a 4-4-2. They start to come out a little bit more and press us. Grealish just holds onto the ball really, really well, helps us, brings that calmness essentially of he's either going to get brought down, we're going to have a free kick and there's a reset, or he's going to be able to keep hold of the ball for a little bit and lay it off to a teammate in the space, and then you move forward from there. And I also want to mention the corners. I've been calling for this for weeks. I've wanted him to start taking corners from that left-hand side, because when you watch him at Villa, he used to take everything because he was the captain. They used to give him everything. But that is where a number of his assists actually came from corners. And I thought his set-piece delivery was consistent, which is something that you can't say about us this season. Our corners and free kicks, even though that was the way that we scored, they're not consistent this season. The amount that have hit the wall, gone into row Z, the amount of corners that haven't beaten the first man or have beaten absolutely everybody and gone all the way to the other side and out for like a goal kick or a throw-in is unbelievable. Grealish's set-piece delivery, his corners, consistent. That is part of the reason why I only gave all of our defenders a 7, maybe less so Cancelo because he's not in the box for corners, but I thought our defence was great, solid, held their ground, even though it was only for like 20 minutes at the end, they held their ground. I think that they needed to be doing better from those set pieces. There was a number of good ones that we could have taken. That was a sort of game where, again, there's not a lot of space to work in. It's going to take a moment. Sometimes a corner can be that moment. I thought we should have done a little bit better. There was a couple of headers that were sort of close. I thought we could have done much better. Because again, consistency, Grealish's set piece delivery from that side was great. And I'm happy that he's taking corners now. And I'm happy that he's been kept on them. Because I've liked what I've seen from that side from corners. But again, I don't understand the divide. I really don't. If you don't like him, then in my eyes, you just don't watch the games. Or you don't watch every single game. Because again, like, he's not here to be a stats player. That's not what we bought him for. Again, he says this himself. He's never had the highest stats. He's never had sort of 20 and 20 or like 10 and 20. He's never done that in his career. That's not what we bought him for. And he serves a purpose in this team. When he's... I'm going to bring out a stat here. When he's played, we haven't lost. That's a stat for you. When he's played football... apart from that McDonald's shield, which I'm not going to count, when he's played, we've never lost. He didn't play at Anfield and we lost. There's your stat.
Correct. Incorrect. Your stats are incorrect. His very first Premier League game away to Tottenham Hotspur.
No, this season, you plonker.
I thought you were on about ever. You said never, ever.
No, because we lost at the Bernabeu and he was on the pitch.
I have a bit of an interesting one, right? You mentioned about when teams press, like when Leicester started pressing and started coming out of the blocks, he is really valuable. That's when he's at his most valuable against teams that press. Joe and Murray, when I mention a team that press, who's the first team that comes to mind? Quick.
Liverpool.
Why the fuck did he not play against Liverpool? You see what I mean? Right? When he's at his most valuable, he's being pressed, he's being fouled, he has players, this can sound mad, he has players coming onto him, right? That is when he is at his best, when he is being challenged, right? When there are players going for him, because he can find those pockets of space in behind. Personally, that's when I think De Bruyne is at his best, which is why the fuck is he pushed out right, and why the fuck is Grealish not playing? You know what I mean? We can talk, I know I'm still hurt, right? I sound like a certain man on Twitter, I'm pretty hurt, but I'm still fuming over the fact that there wasn't a correct tactical setup, and there was one he could have gone with that he didn't go with. And now we are seeing it. We are seeing it when teams start pressing. We're seeing how good Grealish is. When teams are pressing, we saw how good De Bruyne was on the counter yesterday with that chance I mentioned, with that counter attack. He was unbelievable because they had every man in their half. That's what we were missing personally, I thought, against Liverpool. And it showed yesterday, it showed up in spades yesterday because Grealish was really good. Like, again, he put in another consistent performance without a goal or an assist. He still played well. He still played really, really well. I don't know. Again, I'll say it. I don't know why that game is one dividing people, because that was one of his better games. I wouldn't say it was a standout game this season. It was one of his better games this season. It shouldn't be him getting turned around and being...
With what he had to work with, considering the players around him, he didn't have a Haaland to bounce off. He didn't have an overlap because Gundogan was over that side and Cancelo was playing left back. For the tools that he had to work with, he was actually good. We've seen numerous times this season where we've gone, if he doesn't have an overlap, he struggles. If Haaland isn't there to drag players away from Grealish, he can struggle a little bit to get away from people. He still played pretty well, even though those two key components to his game weren't there.
Listen, I could talk all night about Jack Grealish. You know, I could. You know how much love I have for him. I just want to defend him. I just want to defend him sometimes when people give out about him and say it's like football isn't all about stats. It really isn't all about stats. It's a team game, people. Football is a team game, and it takes contributions on different levels and different types of contributions from different players to win the major honours. And Jack Grealish just has his own role. He has his own spot in the team. And I just refuse to get in his back. I just do. I feel bad for him sometimes when he gets so much slander. And the thing is, he's an open and honest guy. You see whenever he's interviewed, he speaks from the heart. He says exactly what he thinks. He doesn't do the whole PR media train sort of thing. He gives actual answers, and he says exactly what he thinks. And I just have a lot of respect and admiration for that. But we're going to park the Jack Grealish thing there for one sec. I'll just finish it by saying, keep supporting Jack, people. Keep supporting Jack. You touched on the defence, Joe. You said they were very good. They didn't have a huge amount to do, but what they did have to do, they were great. I want to give a big shout out to two players. The first one is Ederson in nets, a player who has got a lot of slack recently or in recent months, the last 6 to 8 months, for his lack of goals or shot stopping ability, if you like. And I still stand by it, the same point I had on the goalkeeper situation was I don't think he's the best goalkeeper in the world. I think Alisson at Liverpool is still a better goalkeeper than Ederson. Alisson's fantastic at the basics and the fundamentals of goalkeeping, which is keeping the ball out of the net, even though sometimes he's prone to a lapse in concentration with the ball at his feet. But yesterday, Ederson proved a lot of his haters wrong. He made some massive, massive saves that on another day they go in the back of the net and you could be 2 or 3-0 down. You could lose that game without Ederson yesterday. And I think what is the reason for Ederson's better performances? He's playing quite well so far this season altogether, I think. I think it's having Stefan Ortega. We saw Stefan Ortega against Dortmund during the week, and he was fantastic. He really was fantastic. He looked confident. He looked comfortable. He looked like he fit into this team for a long, long time. He looked like he's always been here. Having healthy competition in the squad, people, is absolutely massive for putting players under pressure. You know, good pressure to make them keep working harder and want to improve their game. Ederson probably felt for a long time. The reality is, like, that no matter what happens, that number one shirt or the goalkeeper spot is his. You know, no one's going to knock him off. I mean, the reality is Claudio Bravo, when Ederson first arrived, was never going to, you know, compete with Ederson for position. Zach Steffen, God help him, he's just simply not good enough to put pressure under Ederson or on Ederson. But now we have a very good backup goalkeeper in Stefan Ortega, and Pep has probably said to both of them, you're going to be competing. It's fair game here. There's nobody is guaranteed the shirt. It's based on performance. If you're not playing well, you won't get it. So, yeah, having Ortega, absolutely huge. The second player I want to shout out is Johnny Stones. Absolutely great. I disagree with your rating for John Stones, Joseph. I hate to say it to you, because I think he deserves an 8. I would give John Stones an 8 out of 10 yesterday for different reasons. I think the rest of the ratings for the defense is perfect. I agree with them, but different for John Stones. Why? Because he showed versatility yesterday. We looked at John Stones' heat map on the City Extra stream this morning with Lewis. Most of his time on the ball is spent high up the pitch. We saw him playing as a midfielder yesterday. We saw him playing as a number 6 at times and as a number 8 at times, alongside what he did defensively. And we gave John Stones stick on this channel, didn't we? Not so long ago, about the whole England thing and playing when he probably shouldn't for England and rushing himself back from injury. But I still stand by that, but when he's playing the way he is, you can't complain. When we don't have a huge amount to do defensively, you want your players to stand up when they do have stuff to do. And John Stones adds, he actually has an aura nowadays. We talk about Virgil van Dijk's aura. I still hate that word. You guys who are long-time viewers know I hate the word aura. But it is a thing. It is a thing. We looked at Ruben Diaz from the minute he arrived. He had that aura about him, a calming presence. He's your leader. You look to him and he's going to make sure the ship runs perfectly. John Stones now has that. The players look to John Stones and go, this guy has experience. He's an extremely, extremely talented footballer. He's really gifted. Technically, John Stones is a beautiful footballer. And now this season, more so than ever before, we're seeing his ability to play in different areas of the pitch. He's almost just as good at right back as he is at centre half. If I was Kyle Walker, I'd be a bit like, geez, I don't know how I'm going to get my place back off John Stones if he keeps playing him at right back and playing like this. John Stones is a much better right back than Akanji. I don't think Akanji suits the right back role. He's done an okay job when he's been there. He's a centre half. John Stones, we know now, is an option at right back. He can go up the pitch. He can get involved in attacks. I'm sure if he plays that position more, he'll pick up goals. We know he can score too. We've seen him do it before. Big shout out John Stones, lads. What are we saying?
D1 Millie, my brother, said earlier, before we even started talking about him, he said that Kyle Walker was probably sat at home watching this saying, what the fuck, like, how am I meant to go in? John Stones is a centre half by trade who can play in midfield, who can play at right back. He is better at going forward than Kyle Walker is, and I will leave my hat on that. The only thing Kyle Walker has on him going forward is pace. John Stones is a better technical footballer than a lot of people in that squad, really. He is unbelievable. I think John Stones is the best on the ball, best passer of a ball as centre back in the world. You won't find a better one. You won't find many centre halves that can drop into midfield. You won't find many centre halves that can just smack one from about 20 yards out like John Stones. Stones is unbelievable, and he can't be dropped. I'm sorry, he has to start right back. Playing him right back is the only way you get him in. That's where you get him in. It allows Cancelo to have the freedom to run up. It reminds me really of the system. I know I always go back to it, but during lockdown, especially Chelsea is always a game that sticks out in mind at the Bridge. When we had that team where Zinchenko was basically playing as a third centre back, now we have the luxury of actually having three centre backs who are fit enough to play, who are good enough to play there. And Cancelo can do whatever the fuck he wants. You were looking at heat maps earlier, weren't you? Yeah. Did you see Cancelo's playing chance? I haven't seen it myself, but I can only imagine that his average position is up playing fucking left wing. Like, that is, like that, having John Stones, that player who can still go forward, who can still sit in the midfield, but still be a fucking damn good defender. That allows Cancelo to unlock even more. You have to have Stones in. You can't take him out. I'm not going to turn around and actively disagree with Joe, because I'll be honest, I don't have the authority like that, right? I'll be honest, I was in work, but the game was on. I work in Powers, I was able to watch it. But I can't actually turn around and say it was wrong. He was good enough, though. He stood out enough where I can say minimum 7, so I'll let Joe off of it. He is fantastic. You cannot drop him. I'm sorry. He's undroppable. And I agree with your point about Akanji. Despite him being one of the best footballers to ever kick a ball for the club, you have to agree that Stones is a better right back. He's so good. He actually, like, I saw a tweet, I retweeted it as well. It was like, actually, no, I'm going to get the exact tweet now, right? Because it is a brilliant tweet. It just says, watching John Stones play football just makes me want to put my legs up, drink a glass of red wine and smoke a cigar. No centre-back has ever made football look this effortless. And you know what? At 10 Blended on Twitter is dead right. He is dead right. What a fucking footballer.
I'm still stuck on the thing where you said Akanji's one of the best players to ever kick a ball for our football club. Like, Manuel Akanji has just come in and taken that title of being one of the best players to ever play for Manchester City. Joe, have you any thoughts on John Stones before we move on from the City game?
I will defend my rating of 7 by saying what I said about 5 minutes ago, maybe, that I just think that all of them could have done a bit better from the set pieces. That is my only one issue, that maybe one of them could have rose like a salmon. That is my only issue. But he was teetering on the edge of an 8. I thought he was probably the best out of the 4. Again, Cancelo, not really too much room to work with, because, again, he's playing left wing, but he can't get a look in, because Leicester have 10 players in the box. But I like the centre-half at right back. I really do, because it gives us more flexibility, especially when you have a John Stones who can do literally anything you tell him to do. That, you see, when the game's level or when we're trailing, he can push forward. He can possibly invert, and again, his passing range is great. He can whack one in from 20 yards. He's done that. What are you laughing about?
John Coster says the vintage Terry and Akanji debate.
Listen,
the vintage Terry and Akanji debate.
You done?
I'm sick of it, Robbie. This is unbelievable.
I'm dead.
I'm sorry. Like the whole Van Dijk company, Terry Vidic, Ferdinand, Akanji. Like it's impossible to pick one. You just have to enjoy them all. You know what I mean? It's so good that
Listen,
they're all
I would
different.
fucking sin bin you if I was able to do it live on stream. I swear to God. You're unbelievable, you know that. You're absolutely unbelievable. I hope someone's able to clip this. They've left their shit. What?
Oh God.
That's go busting me now.
Oh, that's one of my favorite comments
Dan,
I've ever seen on the
There's a
channel.
good question there, though, right? There is a good question
Fuck's
there. From
sake,
Deep
Dan's just added Maguire to it. Why? Why are we doing
Right,
it?
now, let's not take the piss now.
We need to calm down here. Just calm
there
down.
is a good question there. Though. What is the
Composure.
best front four? Or sorry, what is the best back four? That is a really good question. I think we're all kind of consensus on it, though, are we?
Are we?
Everyone fit. I don't want to drop Blood Kanji. I don't think he's warranted a drop, and neither has Nathan Ake. But like, I don't know, you two can have a say, but I think it's at the moment it's. Sorry, I said look at that comment. Stones, Diaz, Laporte, Cancelo. For me personally, but I don't know. Them other two boys they don't deserve a dropping.
No one in this team deserves a drop in there. You just have to do it.
You
That's
deserve
the
a
point.
fucking dropping.
Aye. Careful. Careful.
Right, listen. The house has gone a bit mad here. Let's calm it down. The Akanji thing got me. I won't lie. The Akanji thing got me.
I was trying to explain Johnny Stones. I was trying to talk Johnny Stones and you lost your shit.
Sorry. Go on. Finish your John Stones talk.
Listen. It was only one thing else I wanted to say until you couldn't control yourself. Thanks, John Costa. You ruined it.
You've ruined the stream now. You're not welcome.
No. The one thing I like about John Stones at right back, which is you could say the similar thing about Ake at left back, and even Akanji, I suppose, at right back, which is that when we're losing or when we're leveling a game and we need a goal, you can ask John Stones to go forward because he can literally do anything you ask him to do with the kick of the ball. And a situation where we end up 1-0 up ourselves, you can ask him to drop into a 3 and then it becomes a 3 back and then you're much more defensively solid. It's tactical flexibility. It's something that, it gives us the edge or can give us the edge.
Haaland
has appeared on my screen, by the way. Someone, Murray, you want to address it?
Big up AB07 for the super chat. Listen, Joe, I understand what you're saying about John Stones, and I fully agree with you. I do agree with you on this one. But listen, we got a super chat as always. I hope you guys liked the graphic that appeared on screen. Big up Joe for making that graphic. The Haaland pointing at you, saying thank you for the super chat. AB's coming with a £1.79. He says, "How much do we value Ake at?" That's a great question because we bought Nathan Ake for £40 million, didn't we, from Bournemouth? And people were saying, how can you justify £40 million for Nathan Ake? But we had an answer for it. We always do, which is that, Premier League tax, homegrown tax, he's Premier League experience and that whole thing. I mean, maybe the chat can help us get involved in this one. Where would you value Nathan Ake? If a club came in now and said, how much do you want from Nathan Ake? What is a fair price? I mean, the pair of you fire away.
minimum 55. Minimum 55. We turned around and rejected 50 million during the summer. And now he's playing the majority of games. That man is worth minimum 55 million. And you know what? So you're well within the right to turn around and ask for 6 because he is that good. And don't forget the dreadlock tax, right? You are taking that man out of the team. You're taking out another member of the Peng FC. He is gone, right? You have to sign. If you're selling someone, you have to sign someone even better looking. You're not getting much better looking. I think minimum 60 million.
Tyrone says 45 to 50. Beyond Belief says 60. John Costa with the super chat as well. €2.50. He says this is compensation for ruining the stream. No, that got me good. That comment, John, the Terry Vidic and Akanji debate.
John, you're a brave man donating $2.50 when you're going out to the academy where they charge about €50 for a drink.
I think 60 million for Akanji is a fair price. It's like
Kanji?
we have to remember people. Sorry, Ake. 160 for
How
Akanji.
dare you?
How fucking dare you? Only 160 million for a Kanji. Blood Kanji is worth a minimum 400 million.
In modern day football, in today's market, Nathan Ake is worth, for me, what Beyond Belief says, about 60 million. Joe, do you think that's fair?
Kind of. I'm a bit split because I would be looking for 60. He's in his prime. He's 27. He's homegrown. He's versatile. He is a reliable centre half for a team like us, where we can, you know, we can have a couple of injuries and we can rely on him to do a job. However, this is the big however, he's wanted to leave and he's only got 2 years left on his contract at the end of this season. I doubt you'd get 60. You could ask, but I doubt it. A player with 2 years left, 50 maybe. I doubt 60. I doubt it. I'd be looking for it. I think in an ideal situation, I think that's a fair price, but we're not in an ideal situation.
I think it's an interesting conversation for Ake because he's really grown into the team, hasn't he? It took him a while to kind of find his place and get regular football, but then when he did, we saw how good he is. He's a fantastic option. Like right now, people were blessed with the options we have. We've got Stones, Diaz, Laporte, Akanji, Ake. Like that's 5 really, really good players that you can rotate, and we really need it with the amount of injury crisis we have in that area of the pitch. So listen, I'd rather not lose Nathan Ake, and we're not a club that really needs the cash. Without being too arrogant, people, we've got quite a lot of money, so we don't really need to, you know, penny pinch and say no, 65 or 62 and a half. we can hold on to him and hopefully persuade him to stay. I don't think he's going to go. I think we're going to have Nathan Ake for another good while. I think he seems to be pretty happy. He spoke about it recently. But listen, we're going to park the City conversation there for the minute. We may as well move on to some of the other Premier League games. What do we want to speak about first? Chelsea lost 4-1. Liverpool lost 2-1. Arsenal won 5-0. So it was a pretty interesting weekend. United won... what was it, 1-0 for anybody who really gives a shit. Tottenham beat Bournemouth 3-2 for anybody who really gives a shit. No disrespect, but we like to talk about the clubs that lost because it's the most interesting and it's good to have a good laugh at them, really, isn't it? For the City fans in the chat, you'll have a good laugh, but I think we may as well start with Arsenal because they won and they're our direct title contenders for the season anyway, as it stands. 5-0 win over Nottingham Forest. They haven't looked great in recent weeks, I think, Arsenal. What are you laughing at now?
Let's talk about Norbert Flop in relation to Jurgen Klopp. Where has Norbert come from?
I don't know. We'll get on to Norbert Klopp. Some Liverpool fans are now saying Klopp out, which is absolutely crazy. But we'll get on to
my brother's Klopp out.
You just outed yourself for having a Liverpool fan brother, but
it's fine. I'll deal with it. We work with some people work with even worse, but you know what? The kid's Klopp out, so you know what? He's onto something.
We'll talk about Arsenal anyway for a second because there are our title contenders with us. There are our rivals this season. They haven't looked great. I thought they were falling off a little bit. They haven't looked great in their Europa League games. They just lost to PSV. They absolutely rode their luck against Leeds and Ellen Road last week, but they got the 3 points. I mean, you could argue one way that the results they have been picking up, you could say, are the kind of ones that you'd look back on if you won a league and go, yeah, we had to grind those ones out. But then again, they came back and won 5-0 today against Nottingham Forest. I mean, it wasn't on television, so I didn't actually see the game, but the result speaks for itself. It was an absolute hammering. But scoring 6 against Forest isn't for everyone, like I said. I'm just saying, we've done that. Julian Alvarez scored against Forest. I'm just saying, big up Arsenal anyway. Twice. What do we think about Arsenal beating Forest today? It was a big statement, I think, from them, basically saying, you know, we're not going away. Forest are just off the back of beating Liverpool. So they were going to come to the Emirates today with a bit of confidence and kind of say, you know what, we can give it a good rattle. If we can beat Liverpool, who, you know, are still a decent team and, you know, they've got a lot of pedigree, we can give Arsenal a good run, a good rattle. But they went and held 5. So you have to give your props to Arsenal. They turned it back up. I thought anyway, when I said they were falling off a little bit or they weren't putting in the performances that they were at the start of the season, it's because of their lack of depth. I mean, when you take out, say, someone like Thomas Partey and put in El Neni or someone else, it's a bit of a drop-off. So I said, and I've been saying for a while, that what business Arsenal do in January will be a big tell as to what their actual aspirations are for the rest of the season. But you can't really knock them at the minute, can you? I mean, Joe, you seem to pay quite a bit of attention to Arsenal, or at least you have done in recent years, as long as I've known you. What are your thoughts on how they're doing so far? It's a big win for them today.
You said it at the start of the show. Like it's funny. You got your top of the league. You got all your screenshots, but come on now, just knock it on the head a little bit. Just you know, you're delaying. Fuck off. You're delaying the inevitable. Go away. Pep said it in. I genuinely think it was. It came out tonight that he said he wants to go into that World Cup break top of the league. I don't see why we can't. I know that Arsenal have Chelsea next. Arsenal have an incredible record against Chelsea, but Chelsea, off the back of a 4-1 hammering, which we'll get to, will be looking for revenge. So, and we've got Fulham, so we need to take full advantage of that game against Fulham and go and put the pressure on Arsenal to go and get something from Chelsea. I'm surprised they went and scored 5 because, again, I think they haven't looked great. They got something at Leeds, they probably shouldn't. They lost in midweek. to PSV. They got absolutely battered against PSV as well. Didn't look in it. They got totally outclassed. But, I mean, fair play. They beat bottom of the league 5-0 at home. You're top. You're expected to do this. If you want to win leagues, you've got to put these teams away in great fashion, which, again, they did. Well done. Fair play. I think Saka's now injured, or he picked up an injury and had to come off. That's big, because even if he started slow, he started to pick up. He's still a great player. I'm devastated that he's going to miss the World Cup, even though I'm not too asked about England. But if we had any hopes, then he would have been part of it. But at the end of the day, I expected them to win. I had a little hope for Forest. I think that win against Liverpool, you look at it and you go, hey, yeah, well, you got the result against Liverpool. Teams that are at the lower end of the table have a tendency sometimes to, when they get a big result against one of the big boys, they can get a high, almost like a high from it, and be on cloud nine. So much so that the next game to them doesn't really matter. We've just beaten Liverpool, like they're on top of the world, and then it all comes crashing down. And I think that's kind of what it was. The Forest are just awful. They've signed 47 players, and they still look dreadful. I mean, they're going to get relegated. I truly believe they're going to get relegated. So again, I expected Arsenal to go and get a win. Fair play to them for doing that. That's all they can do at the moment, is go and match our results. But at the same time, like, I'm still not too arsed. We're still going to go on and win the league. I truly believe that. So again, fair enough, Arsenal. Well done, but you just knock it on the head now, please. It's boring.
And said they've signed 47 players and still look dreadful.
Wait, they signed a whole new squad, man.
I think, when we're speaking on the whole Forest beat Liverpool, we do have to realise that Liverpool realistically should have scored about 6 goals. Like, it's just pure.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah,
if your aunt had a ball, she'd be your uncle, but she doesn't, so she's not.
He's not here, man.
We don't do if buts or maybes. No if buts or maybes. Absolute.
Listen, Dad, they could have ended up scoring about 4. I don't think it was down to Forest being just unbelievable, or Dean Henderson having the game. It was purely, like, I thought I watched that match. Liverpool couldn't, like, you could have had them on the pitch for about 14 hours and they wouldn't have scored. Forest rolled their luck during that match, and it was shown in the game today. I thought, I've only seen the highlights again. It wasn't on telly for some reason. 2 fucking games on a Sunday and it wasn't on telly. Give over, grow up. They just forgot to put it on, I think. But Forest, they are fucked. I think they are fucked. You can't sign 24. It genuinely was 24 players. You cannot sign 24 players and expect them to gel. It doesn't work like that. But I'm in the same mind now. Knock on the head. Fuck off, please.
Grow up.
just grow up, you know what I mean? But no, this was genuinely.
Look at us. We're top of the league. We beat Nottingham Forest. No,
think about what's going on in the world. Think about what's going on in the world, and you're here doing that. Give over. There's Haaland again. Come on, you know.
Listen, Haaland has just appeared on the screen yet again. He's pointing at you. He's saying thank you for the super chat. Second City saying, my brother from the US with the US $10. Did Jurgen? I've lost 20% of my European finals. Klopp blame Man City for Liverpool's loss. No, Klopp. Big up Second City, same for the super chat. Really appreciate that, man. I don't know what excuse Klopp is going to come up with this time, people. We know Klopp is a man that loves his excuse. The thing is, I have a lot of admiration for Jurgen Klopp. I do. I know he's a really good manager, and I'm appreciative of what him and Liverpool did, because it made our past 4 or 5 seasons be as amazing as they were. We don't get that Gundogan moment that we were in the stadium for in May without Liverpool doing their thing. We don't win the title by a point the other year as well without Liverpool. So many great things came from this footballing rivalry between City and Liverpool. But listen, if there's any criticism of Klopp, it's his excuses. Is the grass too green? We can't compete with City for money. Can't compete with Newcastle for money. Can't compete with this for that. I mean, shut up, man. Come on, get over it. You're not. Huh?
God is a City fan.
God is a City fan. Listen, mate, shut up, man. You're falling off right now, and you need to get your shit together. He needs to fix his tactics. He's too stubborn. I know we talk about Pep being stubborn, but Pep is also stubborn in the sense that he will make changes. But even if we think the changes aren't right, he backs himself. That's his stubbornness. Klopp is just stubborn in the sense that he won't change personnel. He'll keep picking Trent, even if Trent is causing them to concede hat-tricks from Leandro Trossard and other players around the league. He'll keep playing Mo Salah, even though he fell off a cliff for a long time there. and he won't change his style of play either. So you know what, with Klopp, keep coming with the excuses, because it provides great entertainment and great content. Big up Second City saying for the super chat, massively appreciate that. But yeah, listen, with Arsenal, grow up, lads, grow up. We get it. You're top of the league, nice, fair play. But I think Joe's right though. I don't see why we can't go into the World Cup break top of the league. I think the Chelsea game. You said they have a very good record against Chelsea, Joe. Do they?
They have, I don't know whether it's at the Bridge. They have an unbelievable record. They always seem to, even when they were absolutely awful. Is it?
Yeah.
They'll probably say, even when Arsenal have been awful, they've still beaten Chelsea away. Like, that is something that would normally happen, which, again, like, I can't go into an Arsenal game and expect them to win like I did with Liverpool, because I don't view them on the same level of those Liverpool teams have passed. But I look at their record against Chelsea at the Bridge, and it's pretty good over recent. But again, like, we can put on the pressure. If they're going into that game second, they might buckle.
I think next week's game is massive for both clubs, Chelsea and Arsenal. I think from Chelsea's perspective, Potter needs to win that game. Potter really fucking needs to win the game. I saw in Matisse's, I was watching Matisse's stream, like I said, because the Chelsea Brighton game wasn't on television. And people in the chat were saying Potter out. They were saying Potter out. It's his first loss, I think, in the league at least. And they're saying Potter. I get it that the losing 4-1 is a bad look. It's not a good look, especially going back to your old club. It's not a good look. But I wouldn't be saying Potter out if I was a Chelsea fan. But he needs to win that game. He needs to bounce back. He needs a big win in a big game just to get people back on side, and people who were doubting him maybe back on side and that sort of thing. And then from Arsenal's perspective, if they do win at the Bridge next week, that is a statement. If Arsenal win at Chelsea next week, that is, Arsenal are serious. Arsenal are serious team this season if they can beat Chelsea at the Bridge, because it is those kind of games that decide titles. You know, if you can go to your rivals and go to other big six clubs away and beat them and put in a good performance, things start to tick along. The team starts to feel like, you know what, we're serious now. We're in with a real chance. We're doing things that we weren't doing before. We're playing better. It's a massive game for both teams, and I'm really looking forward to it, if I'm being absolutely honest. But listen, yeah, fair play Arsenal. You got your 5-0 win today. Grow up a little bit. We'll move on to what Second City Saint was talking about in a super chat. Liverpool lost 2-1 to Leeds. What is happening at that football club right now, lads? The fall off. I understand that in football, cycles come to an end. You know, the teams die down, they get old, they're not playing the way they used to, and you have to refresh. We spoke about this in depth. Liverpool didn't refresh, and they definitely, if they are planning on refreshing, it's far too late to continue the cycle, or at least let it be seamless. You know, the transition from one team to another be seamless. We've seen our transitions at Manchester City be seamless. You know, you're bringing in Rodri for Fernandinho, you're bringing in Cancelo, you're bringing in who else? Even Jack Grealish, and Haaland and Alvarez and Phillips, and you know, it's seamless. You can see the transition, but it's not to the detriment of the team. It's not such a big transition that it takes a long time to recover and it takes a long time to get used to it. Like, you know, Nottingham Forest bringing in 27 new players. That's not a seamless transition. That's just a complete overhaul. But Liverpool didn't do that, and they're suffering for it right now. And like I said, I understand the cycle's come to an end, but I've never experienced or expected a fall off this rapid, this kind of decline. Virgil van Disney losing his first ever Premier League game in Anfield against Leeds. We should have fucking done that, for God's sake. That should have been us. We should have put that nail in the coffin, but we didn't. And you know what, we move. But Leeds, big up Leeds, they did it. That was massive for Leeds. Jesse March needed that. But for Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool, what the fuck? What in God's name? Disneyland.
Yeah, Van Dildo really had a stinker, to be honest with you. I tell you what, the Joe Gomez, the first one, I tell you what, I think Joe Gomez looks worse on that second goal, because that first goal, I will stand by it, is pure unlucky. 9 times out of 10, that is all right. That last goal, the defending for it is inexcusable, right? He tried jockeying. There were two men on it. I'm not sure what the ball, to be honest. It wasn't Jack Harrison. Whoever had the ball on the left-hand side. Who was it?
Nonto, that short geezer.
Ah, yeah, the Italian fella.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Mr. Italian had it on the left-hand side, right? Two men on him. I think one was Trent and the other one was someone else, right?
He wasn't Trent, he was off. He wasn't Trent, he was off. It's Milner.
Oh, yeah, he was hooked, wasn't he? Fuck, I don't know how. Either way, Gomez is there, right? Gomez is sandwiched in between the two of them behind them. Oh my God, what is he doing? It was the worst piece of defending I've ever seen, right? Of course, he plays well against City and shits the bed against Leeds. Like, fuck me. But to go back to what Murray said something about the cycles come to an end and all that. What City do is future-proof. City turnaround with Fernandinho was still. Will we say at the top of his game? Will we say Fernandinho was at the top of his game? We signed
Fernandinho was playing great when Rodri came in.
Was the top of his game, right? And we signed Rodri. We spent 60 million on Rodri, right? Future proofing. We signed Jack Grealish. Who did we let go? I'm sure we had an inkling that Sterling was going. I'm sure we probably
we lost Sane in recent years. We knew Sterling was going to go. We kind of knew Gabby was going to go. It was perfect.
Gomez is gone. I say we signed Gomez. That's future proofing because Walker's fucking off in a few years. We signed Akanji to future proof to centre half because I'm sure he had an inkling that Stones is going to move out to right back. We future proof. Liverpool don't future proof. They've signed Carvalho and who's that shithead? Fucking Elliot.
Arthur Mello on the last day of the season. Last day of the transfer window.
Oh my god, he is fucking shit, right? I haven't even seen it. I've seen him play the event. This man is piss poor, right? But the most future proofing that Liverpool have done in the last 5 years, again, to maintain the titles, is getting Harvey Elliott and Carvalho. No, Carvalho. The two young players.
Thiago as well was a good sign.
Thiago was a I know I sound very NBA here, but a win now, a world-class player who can sit in, you pay a bit of money for, right? That's what they did. They got Thiago on a really good cut price deal, a great deal. Thiago's fantastic. But think about what they've done since. Like, who have they signed in defence? Ibrahim Konate, fellas made of absolute sawdust. The fellas in and out every week, right? Look at their front three. Haven't signed anyone to replace Salah, right? Who is, I know they've got him under a new contract, but the man's 30-odd. They signed Nunes, who doesn't seem to be. Well, you know what? Nunes is good. I'm not going to turn around and say shit. Central C spot.
The things with Nunes is just not Liverpool standard. I'm sorry. And as Liverpool fans,
Murray, I think he really will come good. Like
I just don't see it. I just don't see it. It's just one of those things. I look at Nunes and I don't look at him and go, he's going to be exceptional. He's going to get 30 goals a season. He's going to drag them to the top 4 secured or trophies or anything like that. I just don't look at Nunes like that. And like whenever I say these things, I understand it could come back to bite him in the arse. Nunes could score in the Etihad, and this could be clipped up, and people were going, "What are you saying about Nunes?" I get that. And James Redmond said this, and other Liverpool fans are saying this. I saw a guy called Monts, who's regularly on Never a Foul, and he has his own channel as well. Forgive me for not remembering the name. I saw a clip of him speaking about Nunes today, and he just isn't having Nunes. They just don't look at him and go, "Yeah, this is what we need. This is the player we need." I don't know. I don't think that was a shrewd signing from Liverpool for Darwin Nunes, especially at the price that it costed. I mean,
the reason it cost that much is because they had just lost Mane. I understand the whole thing with Diaz, but they had just lost Mane. They didn't need it to get someone, right? Firmino was in that team. I think Firmino was he's a fine footballer, but what, he's 30-odd. He's 30-odd and not really contributing nearly as much, and he's starting every game. Firmino, I'm sorry, Firmino should not be starting for a team that are competing for every competition. He shouldn't be, and he started last night. Nunes is good. I think he'll come even better. But who start? Let's say Salah breaks his leg tomorrow, right? God forbid Salah breaks his leg tomorrow. Who starts? He put fucking Elliot out there. Come on, like, he's a good baller, but he's been sat in midfield for half the time. He's not ready to take it up. You don't have anyone. And Diaz is injured now as well, right? What do you do? Like, honestly, what do you do? Because, and I'm looking at Fabinho too. He's been fucking piss poor for God knows how long, right? And you don't have a backup holding midfielder. You have Jordan Henderson, who was peaked as a footballer about 4 years ago. He's awful. Liverpool have not future-proof, and that's what's killing them, right? I don't know if it's owners turning around and not spending money, or if it's Klopp being too stubborn. I don't know. It's probably a mix of the two of that. But when you play the style of football that Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp do, there's going to be injuries. There's going to be wear out. There's going to be burnout, not wear out. So there's going to be burnout.
They don't burn out.
What?
They don't burn out.
Have you seen them?
They use inhalers at half time.
Have you seen them? Did you see them? Did you see them yesterday? PEDs can only work for so long, right? God love them, right? You saw that with Spain and Russia, right? PEDs can only work for so long. That's not even an accusation. That's proven. That's their downfall. Their Achilles heel is not putting. Like, the signings have been good. The signings in the club era have been good. But that's just it. They have it for a squad, and that's it. They have it for a starting 11 and maybe 2 more. They don't have that squad depth, which is why when they won the league, fair play to them, all their centre halves were dead. All their centre halves were dead, right? Look at the one injury in the midfield. They're fucked, and that's what's doing them this season. That is what's doing them this season. Did do them last season, and probably the year Van Dijk got his knee done as well. That done them that year.
I agree. I think you've summed it up pretty fucking well there. Let's see what the people are saying. I haven't gone and read out any of the chats in a few minutes now, so I'll get down to that. Diaz replacing Mane. I think Diaz and Jota were both pretty good signings. I actually
him.
Who?
Jota. I forgot he was even a player.
Yeah, he's a good player. Jota, I rate Jota quite highly. He's one of those players that does frighten me because he can score goals. Thiago was the wrong signing for them. His legs are gone, and they added him to Henderson and Fabinho. Other old legs, says Super City. Curtis Jones is rubbish as well, says D1. Oh my God, Fabinho only looks like Fernandinho at 36 and he's 28. That's the thing. I don't know what's happened to Fabinho. Fabinho, I used to rate really highly. When he was kind of like 25, 26, I don't know what he is now, maybe 28, 29. I rated Fabinho.
Last season, he was an animal. Last season, he was an animal. I just rated Rodri higher because he was better. There was no one touching Rodri last year, but Fabinho was the only one who ran him close.
I don't know what it is with Liverpool. They've fallen off massively. It's going to be a real struggle for them to get in the top four. I really believe that. I asked Grizz on the Big Six every week at the start of this season. I was like, is it crisis mode? Is it crisis mode? It's panic stations now, people, for Liverpool. They're saying, what the fuck do we do? They've gone from a position where they were in the Champions League final, where we're hearing all this bullshit about winning quadruples. Liverpool going to win the quadruple. Liverpool going to win the quadruple. Shut up, man. It was never going to happen. It's not realistic. They were in that position literally a matter of, 6-7 months ago? And now we're talking about them struggling to get top four because there's so many other teams looking in form. I know in the Big Six, I predict United to lose every single week, and I'll probably stop that. I will probably stop that because I seem to be jinxing it. I seem to be aiding them to win the games, but they're looking like, they are serious for top four. Let's call a spade a spade. United could really push for top four. Chelsea will probably get their shit together in the second half of the season, and they'll make a push for it. You've got Arsenal, you've got Spurs, and you've got ourselves, and now you've got the talk of Newcastle, who, like I said the other day, within their own dressing room behind closed doors, they'll be saying we can push for top four. Have you seen the performances Newcastle United are putting in? That Callum Wilson is an absolute savage in front of goal. They've got Almiron, thankfully, or thanks to Jack Grealish, now playing like a prime Raheem Sterling, and he looks who? Cheers.
That's what I'm saying. Cheers, Grealish.
Yeah, nice one, Grealish. You've turned Almiron into a beast. Newcastle looked like if they can, they will. Sorry, people. We know for a fact Newcastle will make more signings in January. They will. They're going to spend more money. They're going to strengthen that squad further. If you think for 1 second Newcastle are going to park their bus and go, right, this is our team. This is the level we want to be at for the next 5-6 years. No, every single transfer window, Newcastle are going to get that check put out and go boom, 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 boom. Who do we want? Let's get him in. Pay whatever we need. That's the way it'll work for them. They're going to improve in January. That's why I know Newcastle are going to be serious for top four. They're a serious club. They've now got serious owners. Eddie Howe's got ambitions. They're not going to stop until they've completely monopolised and own world football in a way that we kind of look at Manchester City do. It's a serious project and it's being sped up. It's moving a lot faster than we ever expected. We spoke about when they got took over that, we expect them to have, the kind of Mark Hughes sort of years that we had at Manchester City and the Mancini sort of eras. No, they're doing this faster. They're being ruthless. They're saying, nah, we're skipping those steps. We're going to spend the cash. We're going to get the right players in. They have brought the right players in. They're battering teams right now without their star signing. What's his fella? Isn't it Isaac? Isaac, yeah. We know he's a good player too. When he gets back, him and Callum Wilson, they can have a field day. They played great against us. They were robbed against Liverpool. And they beat Spurs, and then they just thumped Aston Villa yesterday. So for Liverpool, it's ominous. It does not look good for Liverpool with the way they are playing and the way they look. They look like a team in tatters. They're playing with no confidence. They're playing with no energy, no ruthlessness. And if this carries on, they're going to very quickly fall out of the top four conversation. Entirely. You're saying Liverpool need to just get their Europa League together or their Conference League and, try build again in the summer and over the next few years. But you can't expect that from FSG. FSG don't have that mentality of, right, identify the right areas of the pitch that we need to replenish and get the correct signing in. And they've lost Michael Edwards, who I think was their sporting director or head of recruitment. He was a massive facet, Michael Edwards, in their success. He was the guy who brought in the likes of Van Dijk, Sadio Mane, Mo Salah. He was excellent at identifying players that suited Klopp's system, knew what Klopp wanted, getting them into Liverpool and making them a great team. Losing him was huge. They don't have him anymore. Who do they have now? I don't even know. Maybe people could tell me in the chat. Who do you look at Liverpool on the board? We know on our board, you know, you got Omar, you got Ferran, you've got Cheeky, and you've got Khaldoon. You know these really smart guys who are pulling the strings. I don't know at Liverpool who they look at on their board and go, right, he is a smart guy. He's got his suit on. He's got his glasses on. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to get this team back on track. It just looks scary. I mean, Joe, you've been quiet on the Liverpool thing. What are your thoughts on the whole situation? Performances, crap. The club looking in a lot of disarray. Fans now actually talking about Klopp out. And we spoke recently about how much credit in the bank does Klopp have before they do start to talk about Klopp out. But it's now starting to creep up. Fans are saying maybe this guy, his time is up and he can't bring them any further than he has.
I think I said this last week when we touched on the results when they lost to Forest, that if Jurgen Klopp's a man of integrity and holding himself to the highest of standards, I'd walk, because there's not a chance in hell that they are getting top 4 with the teams around. If I was a man who would hold myself to the highest of standards, it's not acceptable to not be in the top 4 season in, season out with the players at his disposal. I would be tempted to walk. He's not going to do that because I think he's too stuck up his own ass and going, yeah, I could turn this around. But you can't turn it around. He's playing Jordan Henderson in 2022. That is the level that we're at here, where Nunes is the complete and utter wrong signing. They didn't need him. They had the forward players. They might have needed a Salah backup, but maybe Elliott was that. They didn't need someone through the middle. Salah thrived without someone truly playing as a 9. And they gave him, $400,000 a week just to stay. Nunes, complete wrong signing. I don't know who sanctioned it. I don't know whether Klopp was even on board with that signing. It was just the wrong thing to do. They should have gone hell for leather for some midfield depth, whether it was Bellingham or whether they couldn't get Bellingham. They have to have multiple options. They can't hang their hat on one player. They have to have option A, B, C, sometimes even D. Look at us when we signed Diaz. What was it? We had about 4 options. Everyone was looking at Koulibaly, Koundé. And then we end up pulling Ruben Diaz out of nowhere that no one was really expecting. Like, you have to have options, and they didn't. They go, oh, we'll just get Bellingham. That's not the case anymore, my friends. You are not in the Champions League spots. You will not get Jude Bellingham. I'm sorry to tell you this, but again, if Bellingham is a man of ambition, which he clearly is, he wouldn't go to a team that's not in the Champions League. I'm sorry, when he has Champions League clubs ringing him probably most days going, hey, do you want to come? Do you want to come? Are you interested? He's not going to turn around and go, here, Liverpool, these lot, Klopp, they've been good in the past. I can bring them back to the top. He's not going to view that. He's going, I want to play at the top now. Like, I'm sorry, it's done. Raps. Like, favouritism rarely prevails in football. Klopp is stubborn, too stubborn for his own good. Fabinho has fallen off a cliff. I'm not even sure he's 29. He plays like he's 39. Like, the drop-off has been criminal. People were holding him as... I was at one point holding him as one of the best in his position. Not anymore. He's awful. You can't pass a football. I've seen Liverpool fans calling for him to be sold. Like, that is the stage that we're at, where some are Klopp out, some want players like Fabinho sold. But at the same time, I look at, we can't compete, and, you know, Klopp's doing the best with what he can do, and these players are shit. About 7 months ago or whatever, during the summer, it's not even 7 months ago, it's about 4 months ago, at the start of the season in the summer, you did a combined 11 with any team in world football. Liverpool would have 7 or 8 players in that team. Where have they gone? Why are they not there anymore? What has gone so wrong that all these, what was it that Grizz calls him? World-class Salah. Where has he gone? Where has he gone? He's not world-class.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. I'm sorry. It's funny because it's really just come to bite them in the arse. They've compared Nunes to Haaland. It took him about 4 games for that to go completely dead in the water. And they used to have, in a World 11, they used to have half a team. And now they get absolutely no one. And they're finally realising that Klopp, 7 seasons. I think it's a cycle. The cycles do come to an end. That's understandable. But when you refuse to change the things that aren't working because you put sentimental values above success, that is the moment where you need to get rid, essentially. Because if that man is going, well, I love Jordan Henderson. You know, it's like he shouts at people. Milner still going. I mean, could we just, please, like, he's clearly just got too much love for the group of players, which is understandable. It's probably his greatest achievement as a manager that he's won a European Cup and the Premier League. At the same time, those same principles are now holding him back. And I'd love it if they got rid of him personally, because he is still a great manager. It's just the whole, can he turn around and get rid of the players that have done him so well over the years and replace them with players that they actually need, like we do? That's what we do. That's why we're so good, because we go back to the future-proof point. We sign players. We go, Fernandinho, you're great. Let's get a backup in who's going to replace him because he's in his 30s. That's what we do. They don't. They haven't done that under Klopp, and he almost strikes me as like almost surprised that it's gone this wrong. I am still surprised that it has gone as bad as it has, but to say I didn't see it coming, this was always in the back of my mind that if he just keeps playing the likes of Henderson week in, week out, he's in his 30s. He was never technically any good. He just put in a lot of effort and shouted at people. But you could get away with it. You can't get away with it now because the players that are around him have also dropped off, which is exposing his weaknesses. Like Trent. Trent's not getting forward. He doesn't have a Premier League assist. A few years ago, he was breaking assist records for defenders. He hasn't got a Premier League assist this season. Like, it's not on. The signings have been poor. The management of the team in general has been poor. And I'm loving it because it makes it a whole lot easier knowing that even though Arsenal are doing great at the moment, they haven't shown it. Like, there's no proof to say that they will carry on. Whereas Liverpool, there was always proof that they were probably going to push us to the end.
I've got more stats if you want to hear.
Oh,
yeah, in just 1 sec, I just want to say one thing really quickly. Boogerman in the chat says, evening boys, everyone do me a favour and smash the like button. Just while the views are high, there's 52 people in the building. If you haven't done so already, make sure you've smashed the like button, get the likes up, people, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you have the notifications bell on so you don't miss when we go live. We're live pretty much every single night, or most nights of the week at about 10:30. 10:30's our slot, so you can join us every night at 10:30 to chat all things Manchester City and Premier League and European football, I suppose, too. So yeah, just make sure you smash the like button. And D1 Millie said, and all these useless pundits tried to say Van Dijk is better than Laporte. No way, impossible. That's it. Van Dijk is now playing like the Van Disney we all joked about. Anyways, Rebel, go on.
Trent, that's a bold point about Laporte, you know. I respect it. Trent Alexander-Arnold has 0 assists in the Premier League this season. That's less than Ederson, who's a goalkeeper, Alisson, who's a goalkeeper, Enoch Mwepu, who's retired, and Emerson Royale, who isn't a real footballer. So there you go.
That actually is, you know what? That actually is a frightening stat. I mean, that's it, people. I mean, we have spoken about, and people spoke about for a long time about how good all these Liverpool players are. That, you know, the World XIs that Joe touched on there, and they've all fallen out of that conversation. I mean, I never agreed with these XIs. You know, combined City versus Liverpool. I always thought we would have more players than them personally because I watch City every week. But I don't understand why people would maybe argue for a lot of those Liverpool players, because as individuals they've all been excellent at times. But for them all to fall off so drastically as well. I mean, Trent is just abysmal for me this season. He scored a free kick against Rangers in Anfield, I'm pretty sure, and that's all I can really remember of him this season. All my memories of Trent so far this season are defensive blurs, defensive errors, absolutely calamity. So I don't know what's happened. Salah too. We could talk about Liverpool all night. Honestly, it's weird, and I might ask James or Grizz or one of the Liverpool fans that I know if they want to come on and have a chat about this, maybe next week or the week after. If you guys want to see anyone in particular, let us know. We can hopefully arrange it, because it's a good conversation to have with Liverpool fans right now. Their stance on Jurgen Klopp: do they want him in? Do they want him out? The style of play, the way the club is run. I know James touched on it briefly while we did the preview for our game against them the other week, but it would be a great conversation to have in depth on a stream. So I'd love to get one of the Liverpool fans on and have that conversation. But listen, with Liverpool, from our perspective, it's hilarious. Get Daps on. D1 says, yeah, Daps, I'm sure, has plenty of opinions on Liverpool. He's always firing shots at all the rivals. We'll definitely get Daps on. We'll definitely get Daps on next week at some point. I'm going to hit him up and see what he's saying. I think Steve said when we were in Dortmund he might like to come onto the channel too. So if Steve's up for it, 100%, get him on. There's loads of great people around that we're in connection with that we can get on and have these conversations. We'll probably park the Liverpool conversation there for a minute. There's only so much laughing and joking around. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, I've one more thing, right? Tyrone has just called Trent Arnold James Ward Scouse. So that is your winner for tonight, I'm afraid, lads. That is the winner of the pun competition for tonight. That is unbelievable and fair play.
The only issue with that is, Tyrone, I love it. I do love it. But someone super chatted on the Big Six the exact same thing the other night.
I take it back, you fraud.
I like it though. James Ward Scouse.
Scout.
Is great.
I tell
They
you what,
share
yeah,
everything in
that's
common.
fucking fantastic.
It's great. They both just cross the ball and are pretty good at set pieces. I also like the whole free kick against Rangers as well, because it's like, it was like everyone was like, "Oh, he's shutting up all these critics." Yeah, I'm sure he shut up all the critics saying he was a shit defender by scoring a free kick
Against Rangers, against a 40-year-old keeper who probably has grandkids.
Listen, the whole thing is funny. The whole thing is entertaining, and I am shocked as a football fan. Just non-biased. I'm just shocked at the fall off of that club entirely. But listen, we'll park Liverpool there for a second. We'll move on to Chelsea. I don't know how much longer we'll stream for. We'll have a conversation about Chelsea, and then we'll probably wrap it up a little bit, or slowly wrap it up. So keep getting your thoughts in, people. Any thoughts on Chelsea, get them in. And I want to have a conversation, people. I want to have a conversation about a good old friend of ours. A good old friend of ours that we did love dearly. We did love dearly at one point. He decided to pack his bags. He decided he no longer wanted to be in Manchester City. He wouldn't sign the shirts. The kids in America said, "Raheem, will you please sign my shirt? I'm a big fan of you." He said, "Nah, I ain't signing no City shirt. I'm a Chelsea boy now. Chelsea. That's me," says Raz. My son, all I'll say, Raheem, the grass, it's not always greener. It's not always greener. What has happened to that guy, lads? Raheem Sterling. I've watched him now for Chelsea on a weekly basis. I'm always interested. I said it while he was still at us. This guy is not what we need. His stats covered up his flaws. Raheem Sterling had fantastic stats. There's no denying that. He's the polar opposite of Jack Grealish, yeah? Not the right player, but great stats. Grealish, great player, no stats. Sterling was covered up by his great stats. He was saved by a great team around him. He'd be given 5, 6, 7 chances a game, and he might score 1 or 2. He's not world class. He hasn't been world class for us, or he wasn't world class for us in his last 2 seasons. I granted he was at one point in his early days at City, but he wasn't in his last 2 seasons. We did the right thing getting rid of him, and now he's at Chelsea. Like I said, the grass isn't always greener, and it's stinking up the gaff. The way Potter's playing him at wing back as well at times, stinking up the gaff. The way Chelsea are playing in general, stinking up the gaff. Battered by Brighton 4-1. Potter went back to Hogwarts and got battered. Dumbledore said, nah, you're not welcome back here. You're getting a beating, my son. Big up Brighton. Big up Trossard. What are we saying, lads?
I don't know if they do corporal punishment at Hogwarts, yeah, but it was pretty good. It was good. As an extreme hater myself, I am really happy with how that went, because Raheem Sterling, mate, you are a dickhead, right? And he's the type of man to see this as well. Fuck you for leaving, yeah, and fuck you for being a prick, yeah. But getting that out of the way, getting that rant out of the way. Yeah, grass isn't green. I think someone, Pac-Man said the green grass of Chelsea turned out to be piss soaked AstroTurf. Yeah, that's what it is. He thought he got out of his comfort zone, and now he's shite. He's being played as a right wing back, and you know what? The hate hasn't been this high on myself now.
You two, both of you. I have a bone to pick with both of you two on stream with me right now. Right. Yeah, I want to expose both of you. I want to expose both of you. What?
Do it. What are you gonna say?
Yeah. Listen, when Raheem Sterling left Manchester City, yeah, everyone starts going, "Oh, big up Sterling. We love Sterling. Club legend. They said. I said, this guy is not a club legend. If you're throwing the term legend around for a player like Raheem Sterling, you don't know the meaning of legend. He was no legend. He was a cult hero at one point. There's different terminology, people. Don't use the word legend if you don't know what it means.
Hey, I use different terminology.
Hang on. Let me land.
Let me finish.
Let me land. He's not a club legend. He never was a club legend. He's never going to be a club legend. Silva, Company, Aguero, De Bruyne will be. You got Summerby, Francis Lee, Colin Bell, club legends. Sterling never loved Manchester City. He never loved the fans. He never embraced the club. He never embraced us. I saw so many times when I was at the Etihad myself, in the flesh, watching the games, we'd score a great goal. The whole team would run to the player and they'd celebrate. They'd go with the fans. Cancelo these days does the whole kiss the badge. He pumps the fans up. Sterling would just stand there and go, "Oh, great, we scored. Happy days. Let's move on to the next one," kind of thing. And I always was like, maybe he's just a professional, and then maybe that's the way he is. But he never embraced the club. He never loved the club. He took his cash, he played his football, he won his trophies, and that's fair enough. If a player is like that, that's perfectly fine. I have no issue with that. That's just the way some professionals are. But to call someone like that a club legend, it's wrong in every sense of the word. Raheem Sterling was never a club legend. And I rest my case, and I'll take that to the grave with me.
Listen, I use different terminology. I said modern day legend.
That is what we both used.
We said
Modern day Shakespeare,
legend.
Romeo and Juliet, old terminology, New Testament, Old Testament, no legend.
Jack Grealish is not a legend. Shut your mouth.
Listen, you be sin-binned.
Right, I said modern day legend. I said modern day legend purely because the fact that I didn't agree that he was a full-on club legend. Because, he'd been here for a few years, broke a few records. He was good under Pep. He'd been shit for the last 2 years and he fucked off. He refused to sign shirts and didn't really look involved towards the latter stages of his career. The more modern fans, let's just call them that, maybe the ones on Twitter again, probably call him a club legend, which is why modern legend. He's a Premier League legend. He's definitely a Premier League legend because he's got a lot of goals, but City legend, no.
He's in the 100 club. He has to be classed as one.
He's a Premier League legend. He's a modern, people class him as a legend, which is why he's a modern day legend. But if you're talking true heroes, club heroes, he is not one.
Yeah,
he's not. But both of you said he was. I want a public apology.
I will fucking apologise. I will apologise to no one. I'll say that again. I apologise to no one because I didn't say he was a club legend. Those words did not come out of my mouth.
I will dig through our chats. I will dig deep into our chats and find evidence.
I've just seen someone say Richard Dunn. I hope that's in a positive to Richard Dunn because Richard Dunn,
Premier League record holder, I'll have you know, definitely a club legend.
Fuck you. It doesn't matter what record. He's a Premier League record holder, right? Richard Dunn, fantastic footballer for Ireland, for Villa, for City. If that is even linked to art and negative, I will find you. I promise you.
Bigger Richard Dunn, man. Bigger Richard Dunn. When will Cole Palmer get his chance? He's mustard and a future legend. Cole Palmer is on the same trajectory, Philip, that Phil Foden was on in his earlier days. You don't overexpose him. You let him grow into the team. You let him get a few minutes here and there. Next season, you give him more. The season after, you give him more. And before you know it, he's an integral part of our squad, Cole Palmer. Big future, big hopes for Cole Palmer, honestly. But listen, with Chelsea, with Sterling, I don't know, once again, this game wasn't on telly. I was solely getting my thoughts on the Chelsea-Brighton game based off Matisse's reactions on his live stream. Have either of you guys any thoughts on Graham Potter's absolute embarrassment in the Amex?
Fantastic. Utterly fantastic. I mean, it's getting to the point where, like, they're not playing well. That was his first loss as Chelsea manager, by the way. So people saying Potter out, I genuinely don't understand what goes through their heads sometimes. But we move. I don't care. It's not my club. They can do what they want. They can have what opinion they want. But he's playing Pulisic as a left wing back and Raheem Sterling as a right wing back. Raheem Sterling doesn't have a defensive bone in his body. He's 5'7". He gets blown over by a gust of wind. Like, actually, I don't understand what the game plan was there. I know Reece James is injured, but the last man I want there is Raheem Sterling. It was poetry though, really, wasn't it? They steal their player of the season. They steal their manager. They turn up to Brighton 3:00 on a Saturday and get pumped. That was just stuff for dreams, and it just had to happen. And again, Sterling, grass isn't always green. I love the downfall. Chelsea fans going mad. I've seen Chelsea fans saying, drop Sterling, play Pulisic. How bad do you have to be as a professional footballer to be dropped for someone who calls it soccer? I am sorry. That is abysmal. They are saying the same things that we tried to tell him when they signed him, that with the frame of mind that he's in, with the confidence that he's in, and not having a number 9 next to him, he rarely runs at people and beats them. He can't finish his dinner, and he's just overall not very effective in the way that he was playing. We tried to warn them. They didn't listen. They got caught up in the early season hype where he was good for the first couple of games. Now he's gone to shit. Now they're saying that Pulisic should start ahead of him, which is wild. Funny. Very, very funny. And I'm enjoying it. I will be most certainly cheering them on next week when they play Arsenal. But again, it's more hope than belief because they are pretty bad at football, even though I love Graham Potter. It's sad to see for Graham Potter's side of things, but it's great to see because I think in our predictions we said they'd fall out the top 4. I don't know what's going to go with them, really. I don't understand the signing of Aubameyang. I totally don't understand it. Whether they're going to be called London Cowboys or not, I don't know what's happening with Todd Bowley and that side of things. But again, I don't care. It's funny. It is fantastic to see yet another club struggling. And it's great to see that we actually play them soon as well. Carabao Cup, looking forward to it, because if they play like they did against Brighton, we can put out a second string side and beat them comfortably.
The Aubameyang signing was more so Tuchel, wasn't it? Which is pretty funny considering they sacked him about 5 minutes after it.
That's another thing with Sterling. The man who promised him they'd be starting every week was gone within 2 months. Fucking have that one.
Like he's Paddy Power made the joke on Twitter that fucking Todd Bowley was going through his phone trying to find Robert De Zerbi's release clause after that match, which I kind of had a little giggle at, to be dead honest with you. The man, right? I appreciate how enthusiastic he is putting money in and trying to sign everyone. But by Jesus, that man needs some consultants. Fuck me. Some of the stuff he's throwing money at this season is quality. Raheem Sterling, who's not doing that. He gave Armando Broja a big new contract just for him to not play. Fucking Aubameyang, like we said. Again, useless. Absolutely useless. And by Jesus, he is balding.
Fair enough. Listen, with Chelsea, yeah, it's a mad one. And now that we've absolutely torn into Sterling for the last 5-10 minutes, he's just going to score against Arsenal next week, isn't he? He's just going to score a good goal again, and he's going to shush us, or people who disagree with us will shush us. But listen, it's 12 now in the UK and Ireland at midnight, if you like. We're getting tired now. What players have club legend potential? You've got Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, Erling Haaland, and Manuel Akanji. Ogbene is great.
Yes, come on.
Yes. And John Stones.
If Lewandowski wasn't at Barca now, Aubameyang would have asked for a refund back to Barca when Tuchel got sacked. 100%. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how Chelsea get on. I do think it was a bit of a blunder, the 4-1. Obviously, maybe it was a bit of a humbling that Graham Potter needed, because they weren't playing great before him. They were kind of just scraping results. They didn't deserve one against Crystal Palace, and they probably didn't deserve one against Aston Villa either, only for the fact that Kepa pulled off an absolute masterclass that day. They got the result, but listen, we move, they move. We're second, we're pushing for top. We need Chelsea to do us a favour next week, pretty much. We're going to wrap it up now in a second. I just want to say a couple more things. Massive thank you to everybody who came in. There's still about 50 people in the building now. We're on 69 likes. Well, hey, let's try to get it up to 70 or 80. If you haven't smashed the like button already, make sure you've hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're on the road to 5k, and all of your support massively helps us on that journey. Oh, we got a super chat coming in just before we finished up. You see Haaland appearing on your screen now in 1 sec. He's pointing at you. He's saying thank you. Haaland is saying thank you to Osama for his $2, saying Reece James is their whole team. That's the thing. I bigged up Reece James. I said he probably is the most complete fullback in the Premier League for me, in the sense that I don't think he's better going forward than Cancelo, but he's better in defence. But he's still decent going forward. Like, when you're relying on your wing back as your most creative player, you know there's an issue at the club at Chelsea. So yeah, Reece James is a massive loss for them, and it's a bit of a downgrade to Raheem Sterling at wing back, isn't it? But listen, Osama, thank you so much for the super chat. Big up to you, my friend. Always good to see you as well. Big up to everybody who came in. Big up to absolutely everybody who came in tonight. Always great to see so many new faces coming in, so many of the regulars, the OGs coming in to chat to us, getting your thoughts in, hitting the like button, saying subscribe, got the notification bell on, being a proper member of this 1894 community that us and you are building together. So we massively, honestly, always massively appreciate your support. We'll probably be back. What day is tomorrow? Tomorrow's Monday, isn't it? We play on Tuesday against Sevilla, is it?
Wednesday, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
So we'll be back on Tuesday. We'll be back on this channel on Tuesday for a Sevilla preview. We'll talk all about Champions League. Obviously, the game doesn't matter a toss because we've already got top spot, but we'll talk about who we'd like to see and what we can expect from that game. So we'll talk about Sevilla on Tuesday. I will be live on the Big Six tomorrow night, Monday night. I think it's a 9 p.m. start. We're going to cook. We're going to sizzle. We're going to be in the kitchen. Grizz and Matisse, they're in line for a bit of a conversation. We need to have a chat. Don't go anywhere, as they say. So tune in to the Big Six tomorrow night at 9 o'clock on Turkish's channel. Then tune in for us on Tuesday night, 10:30, the usual slot, chatting all things European football. Massively appreciate you all. If you're watching it on playback and you're not with us live, make sure you hit the like button as well. It helps the channel get out there. And make sure you subscribe. Help us get to 5k. Always big love. Wrap her up, Joseph. Good night and God bless, my people.
Oui.
Listen to your heart. Tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart. Tell me that you understand.